Well, welcome everyone to tonight's episode of ADVMoto Live, number 23. Today we talk about one of my favorite topics, turtle power. But this all came up because, riders, we come in all shapes, sizes, and also interests. And without a doubt, one of the longest running and most unique dual sport models sold today is Yamaha's stalwart TW200. And although you didn't hear much about it in the mainstream media, now that adventure dual sports have become more popular, you're increasingly likely to find one, bumming around city streets or in the countryside. And what makes this low-slung, fat-tarred TW200 such an appealing bike, and how far can you really go with it? Find out tonight's episode, ADVMoto Live. All right, but first, before we start, we want to really kind of give a thanks to Nathan Slaball, a buddy who has been running the last 8 episodes of the ADVMoto podcast. Nathan is a really talented guy, and he ran his own podcast years back for a few years called The Call of the Road. You guys definitely look it up and go search for it. His main gig now, though, is video production in the Northwest, and if anyone is interested, please go check out slaballmedia.com. This picture you see right here is actually myself and Nathan. I think that was in like 2013. Seems like a million years ago. I think that was in Washington State at one of the Touratech rallies. Had a great time. The dude is a great guy. He has a lot of different interests. Definitely check him out. And I believe some of his podcasts are still available on the net if you just smell around for them. So thank you very much, Nathan. It was super cool. I hope we can work together again on some other projects. But that said, the ADVMoto podcast will keep rolling, so everyone please stay tuned for more updates in the upcoming weeks. We've got some exciting ideas, but now on with the show. All right. We got a bunch of people in the chat room today. First, I want to say hello to them, and most of them probably already know our guests. Our guests need no introductions, but they are no joke fanatics and have dedicated themselves to growing a community and creating content around this mean little TW200. Could everyone please welcome Rodney Wills of the Yamaha TDUB Club and Wes Mathias, aka TDubsKid.
Hi.
Hey.
Woo! What's going on, guys?
Hey.
How's it going?
How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing well.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right, can you guys just kind of give us a brief rundown of, where you guys are at right now, and, what's your thing?
T-Dubs, you go first.
All right, so I'm Wes, and, as you guys probably know, I've run the TDubsKid channel, and I live here in Colorado in the Rocky Mountains, or the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains, and I make TW200 content and videos on how to make repairs and mods and stuff, and then moto camping and adventures.
All right. That's awesome. And what do you do, in your off time when you're not doing all that kind of stuff?
I'm actually working. I work as an automotive technician, so working on cars, and that's kind of how I, know how to work on bikes as well, because it's pretty similar.
Very cool. Would you say working on bikes is easier than working on cars?
Oh yeah, especially the TW200.
That's probably why you got the TW200 in the first place. Right?
We'll
touch on that later. Yeah, that's cool. All right, Rodney.
Yep, I'm Rodney, aka GC Rad 1, and I run the Yamaha TDUB Club, and it's just we started it as a collective group to just kind of share the passion and get other people excited, and kind of share the wide range of people, that are in the motorcycling, from the beginner to the experts. that may have an open mind to do something different. And that's kind of what the TDUB Club's all about.
That's awesome. But, like aside from bikes, right? And we had talked earlier, you have a passion about RC, right? Which is another subject that we could dive into.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
maybe we save that for a different call. But, yeah, so what have you been doing in the RC world in the past?
I was a marketing director at HPI Racing for 5 years, and then went on to be the marketing director for Axial RC, which is kind of like the big time rock crawling brand. So did that up until 2018. And then recently I've moved from California to my original home state of Alabama.
Oh, right on. How's the weather down in Alabama right now?
We had snow 2 weeks ago, and it was 80 2 days ago.
Rocking. Yeah, we're in Virginia. It was like 60 something degrees. I went out and did some filming on our ADV150 test scooter, which I absolutely love. We love small bikes here, in case anyone can't tell. Well, all right. One thing I really love about the TW200 is the diverse community of fans. You got a wide age range, geographic locations. Both men and women like it. How did you guys first discover the TW?
Well, I honestly kind of was lurking on it for quite a while on the ADV Rider forum. I was participating in that forum with my other bikes, and I just kind of kept seeing this little thing, and it was super unique. I'm a Yamaha fan to begin with, and so a conversation between my buddy Jason Markley out at Pedals Bike Shop in Riverside, it just he was like, hey, we need to get some bikes that match, because we had a garage full of bikes and none of them matched. And so he asked me, he's like, well, what's going to be, if money's no object, what's going to be your next bike? And I was like, man, I'm just at this place in my life where like, I want to try out this little TW200. I know it's weird. I know it's funky. He was like, well, what kind of bike is that? And I showed him the link, and I think 2 weeks later, he bought his bike, and 2 days later we were going to go pick up my bike. And I think in like 3 to 6 weeks after that, we probably had 13 bikes we had taken off of Craigslist, and it just kind of started from there.
So you guys did what the TV producers for Dukes of Hazzard did with the Chargers. They sucked so many of them off the market. All the retail, the other ones went up. That's a lot to scoop up in one small time, man.
Yeah, it's been an interesting kind of look from there. And, I've just been seeing the resale values of these things continue to go up. And it's definitely been an interesting thing. And yeah, we're part to blame, but
that's a good thing, though. That's a good thing, though. Yeah, it's awesome. The more people that, get into a community, especially when it's, when in this case it's centered around a bike, the more people start to resonate it from the industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get more parts, you get more, you know what I mean? And, and all these things.
And you can still buy 2 of these brand new for the price that you would any other bike.
Yeah. What's the current retail price on them now?
I think you're out the door, taxes and all, for like $6,200 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I got mine out the door for $5,000, but that was years ago. So I guess that doesn't count.
Yeah. So when did you get your TW200?
2015. It was last year's model though, so it's a 2014. So I got a good discount on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Well,
a lot has happened in the last 5 years.
Yep, that's true.
Or more.
Yeah, this thing is blown up. And then also you have the fact that, during COVID,
oh yeah,
all of the bike sales, both new and used, went crazy. And then you also have the fact that that when that happens and there's a low bike inventory, I mean, the dealers are selling retail plus, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? That's when you get your $6,000 bikes, because, people are just scooping them up.
There's rumors out there that guys have bought brand new bikes and turned around and sold them privately for $500 over sticker.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it's also crazy to see with Mob Street's video, you've seen where you can go into a Yamaha shop, there's XT 250s sitting on the showroom floor, and you're having to wait, 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks to get a TW200. So that's the fun part. It's like, All right. Like there's something happening here with this little stupid fat tired low slung mini bike with a
Hell yeah,
license
man.
plate.
Well, who's a Mob Street 83 in the chat said he got one out the door last week for 55.
Okay. He knows somebody.
Yeah, and then John Elliott from San Diego said 2021 5400. And then Mob Street said 2 years ago it was just under 5.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it really does depend regionally, I think. You know what I mean? You know, how much demand and who you talk to and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know. All right, Wes, how'd you get into it?
So I was looking to get a dual sport a long time ago because I just like the idea of having so much freedom to go wherever. And so I always had Yamaha, and I was either thinking the XT250 or the TW200, and I just went with the TW because I'm not very tall, so I needed something a little bit shorter, and it's been great ever since.
Hey, Wes, are you in our 29-inch inseam club?
Probably, yeah. I would say so.
Yeah, there you go.
Got short, stubby legs.
Yeah.
29-inch inseam club, is that an actual club for you guys?
Yeah. No, it's the TDUB club, man. It's like it's one of the great assets of the TW is the low seat height.
Yeah,
true.
for sure, man. For sure, man. You know, I mean, I've got, I think it's a 32-inch inseam, and I still love riding smaller bikes.
Yeah. Well, when you're looking at an off slope angle, I had an XR 400 with the, and I shaved the seat down, but when the earth is not flat. So when you get in these predicaments and your foot is now 6 inches from the ground, it's a big difference when you're trying to get the bike, hold yourself up, and you get into some precarious situations. And I think with the TW200, you can do that more confidently than you can with the taller bikes.
For sure.
Yeah, I think there's pretty much zero doubt about that, man. And being able to flat foot is nice, I think, for anybody, especially if you're learning. It's huge. Also, the lower the bike, generally, the easier it is to pick up.
Yeah, that's true. Lower center of gravity.
Yeah, and if you are learning off road and all that kinds of stuff, it's you could save a lot of sweat by doing that. But so in a world of latest and greatest, why do you guys think the TW200 has an increasing amount of appeal for people, since it really hasn't been changed for what?
Since 1987.
So it's 30 plus years.
Well, go West.
Oh yeah, they changed it in like 2001, right? Yeah, like new, better headlight, and they got rid of the Kickstarter, unfortunately. But what else? The front disc brake. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. What, it was drum before that?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the front, it's kind of sketchy.
Just like the Nighthawk 250.
It worked.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that is some kind of an upgrade, But so what do you guys think is the appeal to folks?
Simplicity, reliability, the cost. Those are the big three keys right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there are other bikes that you could buy new or
That's
used
true.
at around the same price. There has to be something.
Yeah, but none of them are as cool as a TW200.
It's just tried and true. It's been around for so long. There's so many parts out there, and it's easy to work on, I think, is a big one.
If you have
it's just simple. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, general maintenance, you're going to do general maintenance, but even the general maintenance work is easy and simple to do. You're going to change the oil and replace the oil filter and swap out the air filter. Like really
just the valves, and that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Well, there has to be some magic in them fatty donut tires. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some kind of a visual appeal, or maybe it changes the way that it rides. If you add larger tires, it will ride like a larger vehicle in a weird way, but it's not.
I think what the large tires, what they do is, I think you can creep at low speed better. Like it's you can balance easier at low speed, and that's where this bike is great for the beginners. But if you're an old guy and you just want to kind of get out and shoot photos and spend a comfortable day out touring the mountains, you can cruise and you don't feel like you're fighting this big machine, you know. It just, and it's very unassuming when you come upon people out there. Like they look at it and they're like, oh, it's so cute, and they're like, yeah, you didn't see that trail I just mobbed through, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun in that regard too.
Yeah, but do you think that like a balancing thing would be more of an effect of the diameter of the wheel or the width of the tire? You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's width of the
or
tire.
both?
When it's kind of like mountain bikes. You know, you start looking at road bike tires and then mountain bike tires. You start getting fatter. It's more compliant. Now, when you start putting speed in, that's the one thing that you notice with the big tires is they start to kind of ricochet off of things.
Yeah,
a
especially
little bit more.
ruts.
Yeah,
Stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
That's the one bad thing about them, but
yeah.
the big tires.
Yeah, so can you describe what you're talking about? You know, so you're talking
Uh,
about like, so like a fat tire goes into a rut and
Yeah.
you're saying it kind of bounces off of it? I mean,
Yeah, so it wants to like constantly like kind of hop out. At least in my experience, I don't know if like lower tire pressure would help that, but maybe. It's kind of weird to explain. I guess it's even worse on the BW200 or BW350 or whatever, because the tire's even bigger, and I've heard it's even worse. So it must have something to do with the bigger tires.
Oh, you think it's because maybe it protrudes out the side of the rim, it just grabs more stuff that's around it, or?
Well, it's like
Probably.
it's like on a big dual sport. You know, a lot of guys will run a 120. They want it to be more nimble through the trail. You start putting a bigger tire on the rear, you know, looking for more traction, but it also kind of ricochets off, you know, a little bit of that side angle. There, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but
Yeah,
that's the
it's
thing is
definitely.
like you can take an advanced guy and put him on a TW and he's going to notice it and go like, oh, okay, well, it's not all easy. It is a fun challenge. It actually is a great skills bike to keep you sharp for their other bikes.
Wow, right on, right on. So who's it? In the chat room, Clever Swine said he was planning on going to a KLX 230, but the TDub community was more appealing, and that has value there. And that leads us into the next idea, which is, Rod, you love the bike. Rod, do you hate Rod, or is Rod okay?
Rodney, Rad, GC, whatever, hit me.
Right.
I'll answer to anything.
All right, right on, man. You love the bike so much that you started the Yamaha TDUB Club. Can you tell us a bit about that, and how big is this community?
Um, like I said, like we started the club out of our little group of friends riding just because we wanted to like bring all these different people together, and we just had so much fun with it. When I get into something, I want to get all my friends involved, and I like the community aspect of all these things, but beyond just the Yamaha TDUB Club, within Facebook is the Yamaha TW200 World group page. It's a private group. There's also the West Coast community page. There are various pages, but this TW200 World page is the largest at like 11,000 plus members in there. So and the way I look at the TW200, ownership is membership. So I don't know how many of these bikes Yamaha has produced and put out there and people that own them. What they don't know is when you buy this bike or own this bike, you have a built-in community if you're looking for it. We're here. And that's just kind of the fun part of it. I don't know. I think the bike is so strange. It's not like any other motorcycle in the industry. So we know we're outsiders. We know we don't have egos. So we got to group together.
You're right on, Wes.
Uh,
How has
what was the?
how has your overall experience been in the TDub community?
Great. I mean, people seem to really like this bike. I mean, it's a fun bike. You just, just it's so simple, and you can go, like, I don't know. It's just a really fun bike.
Yeah, well, it seemed to have spurred some creativity in you as well, and you started your YouTube channel, which is doing really well. And you watch some of the videos. You've really evolved over the time, and you're trying new things and stuff like that. So, I mean, do you think that the TW helped you kind of do that in a way, or?
Yeah, I would say so. Um,
I have a question for him. It's like you weren't making videos for anything else
yeah, well,
until you
actually,
got.
because I noticed like there when I got the TW200, there was like no videos on it, like pretty much at all. Like because I was trying to do an oil change and stuff like that. So I thought, well, I'm gonna start making videos on it, and
Right.
I kind of just went from there. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that's been the cool thing. TDubsKid has been everyone's inspiration. I'll openly admit that. I think I've watched a ton of those videos. So it's been really cool. And I'm like, hey man, if this kid's out here doing it, he's obviously having fun with it. So it's like, all right, we're just gonna build on to the, kind of build a community around this whole thing.
Hell yeah, and it makes sense if we can all work together.
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing about some of the motorcycle community is we're kind of in pockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and the internet kind of helps bring us together, certainly in things like this, and certainly there's all kinds of coordination going on with all kinds of people.
Yeah.
But but if there are passionate, like-minded people that have a common interest, in general, as long as we can all be respectful of each other, it makes sense for all of us to kind of put in our 10 cents and get out $1. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I've met some really good people, like just doing riding and like through my channel and just other people who ride TW200s, and it's been great.
And here's kind of a zinger question, which is this: who do you guys think is the most interesting TW rider you've met? And do you have any particular stories about like some particularly eccentric TW riders that you've met over the years?
I have to say, Jim Wilson's kind of my most intriguing. Like he's somebody that I think you should do an interview on, and you're going to talk to him about a lot of other motorcycles. But the fact that this guy is like 6'2", 210 pounds, and he's in the Motorcycle Hall of Fame for trials riding.
Oh, cool.
And the fact that him and his significant other are out there like T-dubbing it up, around the Cajon Pass area in Southern California. I was really intrigued when I met him because he's just so big and he's riding this bike, and I'm like riding with him. And, it's like when you ride with someone, you can tell if they're a seasoned rider or if they're a beginner rider. And I'm watching him and I'm like, holy crap, this guy really knows how to ride. And so I get to talking with him. And of course, I can't remember her name right now, but she likes to like, oh, well, he's done this and he's done that. And I start going home and doing my homework on this guy. And I'm like, holy crap. Like this is like, if Jim Wilson rides a TW200, then just, all right, everyone just like the Godfather has spoken. He's riding a TW200 and I'm like he's my hero.
Well, that's awesome. Trials riders, are an amazing part of the motorcycle community. You don't hear much about them. I mean, you see videos about them like from time to time. You know what I mean? But man,
but they have the talent.
God, I mean, it's wow. Like every time I see a good trials rider in action, like Tony Bow and stuff like that, and I'm like, man, it's like otherworldly skills. So the fact that these guys want to go bum around TW200 is a glowing endorsement. There's zero doubt about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Wes?
It
cool
has
characters you've met.
Yeah, the guy who runs the biggest Facebook TW200 group, TW200 World or something like that. Jim Grimm, I think his name. Yeah, he's pretty cool because he's been around longer than I have, or at least had the group. And he he'll go out like riding when it's like freezing cold and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. But,
yeah, he's cool. He's super hardcore. Yeah, I mean, he rides the socks off of his TW2.
Oh yeah.
Like, no one told him that it's a fat tired mini dual sport bike. He rides that thing like it's like nobody's business.
Awesome. So we got a cool bike. Lots of different types of people like to ride it. There's clearly a lot of love for it. So what are the limitations of this thing? I mean, like, how about top speed? I mean, you look at the bike, first thing you think is like, you're not going to take this thing down interstate. Where would you not use it?
Freeway.
Yeah, the interstate or anything over 55 miles an hour, at least for me.
Yeah. And you don't even want to go down the freeway on a
It's not
T-Dub.
fun.
Like, even if it would go 70 or 80, because that is the most boring, least curvy way to go.
Yeah,
Like this
yeah.
this bike is all about adventure, and we've all
Yeah.
taken the freeways to get somewhere. Like, forget the freeway. Like
Oh yeah, that's why I love it so much.
yep.
Yeah.
I've found so many cool places and so many different ways to get to places that I would have never known without riding the TW.
It truly forces you to rethink. I've told this people many times, like, it's made me fall in love with riding motorcycles all over again, because it forces you to rethink everything.
Yeah, yeah. You know, like I said earlier, I was out earlier, kind of bumming around on that ADV150 scooter, you know, from like from Honda, and it's just kind of like, I have the best time on it, and I got a video of me hitting 60 miles an hour on it. I was pushing it real hard, and I think it was downhill.
Yeah.
I'm like the weight limit for that thing.
Yeah.
It's like 200 something pounds is the weight limit. I'm like the weight limit for that thing. I got it from 0 to 55 in about like 17 seconds.
Oh man.
And but the thing was sweet. I took it off road, did some stream crossings and stuff like that. But the point is you know, I'm avoiding all of even the 2-lane highways. You
Right.
know, I'm hitting back roads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think the T-Dub pushes you to explore more, like in every way.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. But otherwise, though, you guys would basically say only place that's not really suitable would be on a highway. Now, but how about like if you were like not like interstate commuting, you know, not like going down freeways or expressways or beltways or anything like that. But you know, I mean, if you were going, you know, like around town and you were kind of like commuting, would it be suitable for that too?
Oh yeah, I think around town, this thing's the best around town. Like inner city bike, this is royally the best. You can just mob streets like nobody's business.
Yep, you can hop curbs and all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
And don't forget, it has that unassuming appearance. So any other bike is going to be like, oh, he's up to bad stuff, you know. But the T-Dub just has this like,
cute.
It has this, it's like joke's on them, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's a question I've never heard anyone discuss: are TWs targets for theft?
I've heard of people getting them stolen. So
yeah,
I mean, probably not as much as like a sport bike or something, but I think people will steal any bike really, except maybe a scooter. I don't know if people steal those or not. But
I have heard in Southern California, out of like they were kind of in a sketchy area, but they got them snagged out of their campsite.
Oh man, that's a real bummer.
Yeah,
that's lame. Actually, yeah, we ran a story years ago about a lady, and I'm sorry that it's kind of slipped my mind. She was crossing Canada on a TW200, and man, what's that road? Was the Labrador Highway up there?
Yeah, Alacan Highway.
No, the Translab. I think that's what it was. And her TW got stolen in some small town up there. Jeez. And the whole town came together. They put her up, they went around, and they actually found her bike.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
It took a few days, but the whole town felt horrible about, you know, and she was traveling solo. She was a farmer, I believe, from Maine.
Wow.
And she was traveling solo, and the whole town basically took her in and took care of her. They apologized and everything, but they actually found the bike. I don't know what happened to the person that stole it. But sometimes those small town justice can be hard. But she got it back, and she was extremely grateful, and it was an amazing experience for her because everybody, you know, wanted to take care of her, and that was, you know, really, really fantastic. So, you know, for as long as the TW's been around, you know, you would think that there would be some mad aftermarket support. So, you know, let's say you get a TW200. You know, I mean, what can you do to the bike to kind of customize it?
Well, there's not a whole lot of like power mods for it exactly. I mean, you could put an exhaust on it and stuff like that, but you know, like big foot pegs and then handguards and stuff like that, like headlights, a rack to carry all your camping gear, stuff like that. But
yeah, just scratch the power part, and it's just all of the same things that you would do to your other dual sport bikes that you're setting up for adventure.
Okay, right on. So, you know, for those who can't see, we have a video playing right now. I think that's Wes kind
Oh
of
yeah, that
bombing
was
down.
LA Barstow to Vegas.
Oh, all right, that's sick. So, what do you have there on the bars?
The handguards.
GPS.
No, just all the equipment you've got on the bike
Oh,
there.
oh,
That
yeah,
we
I
can
have,
kind of see right there, right?
the rocks risers. I have rocks
Okay.
risers, and then I can't remember which bars I have. Some kind of pro taper, the Windham or something, and then highway dirt bikes handguards,
Yeah, those are
which I
beefy.
love. Yeah, I love those. I love the pop out mirrors, and they're just the way they connect to the handlebars is just amazing.
Aren't they Colorado natives there too? Highway dirt bikes.
Yep. And when they're not answering calls or out riding or something, so, or
Yeah, that's
sending
cool.
out orders.
Yeah, we had a set of those on our 690 project, and man, yeah, I loved how they clamped. I mean, those things were just tough. Those things are sweet. But what else you got on there? You got some, looks like some lights.
Yeah, some auxiliary lights that just feed into the high beam. They just switch on with the high beam. They did pretty well, and just my Garmin GPS on there, so I can figure out where I'm going.
All right, now how about the electrical output of the bikes? You know what I mean? Like how much can the TW200 take as far as adding accessories?
Well, if you put a LED light on it, you can reduce the total wattage, so that will free up a lot of extra wattage for other stuff. Like you could probably put grip heaters and the auxiliary lights. You just have to figure it all out and everything, just because you really don't want to pull too much more electricity than you have to, because I don't know how. I think they did upgrade the stator in 2001, I believe. Yeah, so it can output a little bit more. The newer ones can.
But from your video, you showed just adding that JNS LED headlamp, how much it reduced.
Yeah,
So
it was a lot.
That was a lot. I was like, whoa, okay, that's plenty.
Yeah, it was a big difference. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, so how much did putting an LED on the bike drop it?
The
draw.
Yeah, it freed up like 40 watts or something. It depends on what light you put on there. Yeah. So.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic, man. LEDs, man.
Yeah, and then if you put more LEDs, like the tail light and the running lamps, you could even save more for extra stuff. So.
Wow, that's cool. So you could put heated grips on it.
Yep,
right?
probably.
And then maybe some auxiliary lights, especially if you switch over to LED, right?
Yeah.
But how about like other heated stuff? Like could you run a heated vest off of it?
I'm not sure. I'd have to measure it all and see what. Yeah, I'm sure that'll come up in an upcoming video, like at least the heated grips. So.
Yeah. All right.
We need to see a video from you from like how much power you can save from like swapping the dash lights and the turn signals and the tail light.
I was actually thinking about making a video like that. So
yeah,
it should be pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Do some numbers. Now, how about suspension?
I have built suspension on my bike.
Okay, and what'd you end up doing to it, and how did it affect it?
It made it from like just riding around in the yard and clunking, bike to like having a bike that I can actually ride aggressively.
Yeah.
A buddy of ours, TCS, out in Southern California. He's a big like moto cross dual sport guy, and he does a lot of vintage bike work. So he actually took the suspension, took it all apart, and did some. He played with the valving on the inner tube, and he from all of his vintage work, he knew what these forks were like. They're like old DT, 175 forks or something. So he just re-welded some valve holding, did the springs, and he also revalved the rear spring or the rear shock on the bike as well. So now it doesn't have that bottom out clunk that a lot of guys will hear when it bottoms out. It like has that whole clunky sound, sounds like you're gonna break the head tube off.
It's like smack.
Yeah, but now like I don't get that, and it rides a lot more progressive. Like I can get rowdy on it.
That's cool. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, my bike's still clunking. I haven't done anything suspension wise. I just let it clunk. I just bottom out all the time.
Yeah, well, you seem like a fairly fit fit guy. You know, I think if I were to sit on it and I started hitting rocks and stuff, I would probably be bottoming out the suspension and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not tipping the scale at the poundage that you and I are.
Yeah, you know, I
yeah,
mean,
I don't weigh a whole lot.
Yeah, I think Wes is closer to what the bikes were actually designed for.
Right. He's the Asian fit model for the US division.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah,
Right
I'm at like 185, and so I know I'm pushing it. And then when you add all your moto gear on and everything else, and then you add in how we're riding these bikes, then yeah, it was a call for suspension.
Well,
So.
all right, well, now here's a question. I don't know if it's actually literally meant to be answered, but it looks like it may be. So Dolly Farrier asks, is there any way that you could upgrade the back frame of the bike so that you could carry more on it when you go camping, beef it up somehow? I'm guessing they talked about reinforcing the rear frame rails.
Yeah,
which I know snaps sometimes on some bikes.
It's called add a cycle rack to rear rack.
Yeah, I think even with that one though, you can still break the subframe. Because the man rack that I have, it kind of goes at the same location as the cycle racks, and I've cracked that. It's just a common thing for dual sports. Like even my friend, has welded his back together many times. They're just not real strong compared to like big adventure bikes. But yeah.
Yeah,
I think too, you start looking at lightweight dual sport adventure bikes and big heavy duty. Like I think that TDUB is just basically calling out you to go like a lightweight backpacking setup, because you can literally just throw that on the bike. Like if you start trying to add all of this other stuff, you're just gonna, the
stress.
bike, it's only 196 cc's. You're asking a whole lot. Like, so why try to take the whole kitchen sink? Like try to travel, look at what's happening in the bike packing industry. Those guys are traveling super lightweight. Well, even look in the hiking industry, those guys are carrying 15-pound loaded packs now. So I know we as humans want to, take the whole kitchen sink with us, but sometimes going lightweight is just going to make it that much better. The big thing is just throw a backpack on and go overnight camp one time without any additional support, and like figure out if you really need more.
Yeah, I think the saddlebags that go over like the rear of the seat will help a lot too, because that's more meant for like a passenger, so it can hold a lot more weight than just like right on the tail. So
yeah, right on. When I was traveling around Tibet on, basically it was like a 150cc Nighthawk. It had the same problem. It had these two frame rails that came back that went under the seat, and everything mounted to those two frame rails. But behind the area where that rear triangle came up to support it, the thing would just break all the time there, because if you don't have good suspension and you flatten out and your shock bottoms out or your forks bottom out, what happens is all that force just turns into multiple G forces on your frame.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at two, especially if it's older steel, I mean, we think steel doesn't change, but steel does age over time.
Yeah.
If it's older steel, the stuff will break. So what the people in Tibet did was they would cut the tubes, then they would throw rebar in there.
Yeah.
Weld that, throw the tube back on, be sure that the measurement was correct, and it was just, I mean, it was rock solid after that.
Yeah, game on.
Yeah, dude, those guys were awesome, man. Those guys were awesome.
And that's the thing too, you got to think about on the TW. If you look in the manual, it says right there that the rear tail section is not rated to carry over 7 pounds. So that's where you really got to start with that and look at like, okay, well, like Wes was saying, like the saddlebags that go over, that'll carry a lot more weight than any rear rack. So that's a good place to start looking at how to put, if you're looking to put a lot of weight on your bike, make sure it's sitting on that rear portion of the seat. So that would be the hot tip for that.
Yeah, in the cycle racks or the man rack, where it's not on that tail part that bolts onto the main frame, so it's actually putting it on the main frame.
Yeah,
sure. Okay, so if you guys had to list out a a good little bit of kit that would be, you know, suitable weight and size for a TW200 to, let's say, do a few nights of moto camping. But really, honestly, if you can do a few nights of moto camping with your gear, you can go, you know, further if you want, right? But,
Yeah.
you know, what do you guys have in your camping kits? I guess that's the way to ask it.
Camping kit or moto kit to go camping?
Yeah, right, yeah. So the moto kit that you would put on your TW200s to go camping.
Front and rear rack and call it good.
No, I'm talking about like, you know, like what tent do you use? What kind of sleeping bag do you use?
Well, I have a couple of different tents. You know, I have kit, like my camping adventures are all over the place. I have enough tents to fill up the yard, but I have two tents primarily for my moto camping. I think it's a REI Passage 2 and then a Big Agnes Fly Creek. I can't remember which one, but the Big Agnes is a really lightweight. This is actually a tent that I initially bought to go bike packing on a mountain bike with. So I know it's good. It's like super lightweight. You can use that to go backpacking, you know, so if you can carry it on your back, you can carry it on your motorcycle. So those are the two main tents that I use for moto camping.
Right on. Wes?
Yeah, for as far as tents go, I had just kind of like a cheaper Amazon tent for a while, but that's like, it's almost 6 pounds. And then Moto Camp Nerd just sent me some new gear, and I think it's the same one that you have, the UL2. Is it the bike pack?
Yeah.
I just got that one from Moto Camp Nerd. So yeah, it's only like 2.5 pounds, so that's gonna really help.
Yeah,
I think, because I think the less stuff you can carry, the better, or less weight.
Now, the funny thing, I will say this about that particular tent is it's a beautiful tent. I love it. It's crazy lightweight. I would say I would take that tent if I was going on more like rowdy adventure camping rides. But if I'm going to go on my more luxury dual sport camping ride, I'm going to take the REI Passage 2. It's a little bigger interior space. It's got a little bigger vestibule. But yeah, you're going to love that tent. That tent's like a feather.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's awesome. Now, the last thing to round up some of the gear, how about like toolkit repair kits? I mean, we need to carry.
I'm looking at it over here. I got it all stretched out on the table. It's a constant battle because your factory toolkit's just not enough. Like, yeah.
Well, they've never been enough for a very long time. I mean, you very rarely find a really. You were like, damn, that's a sweet factory toolkit. There was one bike I got one time. I came to had a bottle opener in it. I thought that was nice. But besides that, you know, they almost always have to be replaced.
Yeah.
But are there any parts that are prone to fail on the bike when you're out or anything that you like, levers or I don't know?
Yeah,
I mean,
levers. You said it right.
As long as you got hand guards,
it's not a problem.
Yeah. I broke 2 levers one time, but I've never had one break yet.
Yeah, that's good.
So
that's good.
Hopefully, I actually have a cable repair kit where you can like kind of customize it. It's not real big either, so I put that in there too. I kind of made my own toolkit.
Oh, right on. And Fairwind is asking, how about first aid?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys carry for that?
I have Adventure Medicals, like I have a Adventure Medicals kit, and and that's also kind of custom built too. That I add in. I have this one little bag, and whether if I'm backpacking or whatever I'm doing, I just have this one bag, and I'll just jump it in between these individual bags. But I'm kind of nerdy about that kind of stuff, and I have it's just kind of the thing, like if I have it, I don't ever need it, but the day I don't have it, that's the day I'm going to need it.
Of course.
The one thing that I will say that I use absolutely the most out of my first aid kit is the tweezers that has the magnifying glass on it, and I use that thing all the time. I'm constantly going to my moto bag here in the house or in the shop or whatever just to get that tweezer kit, because, you know, Wes, you know, you're working on stuff all the time. You're always getting metal, this,
Oh, yeah.
that, something. So it's always in my Moto first aid kit. So I always know where it's at. Like if my girls or wife need it or whatever, they know, like, all right, come to dad. He has it. It's hit out.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Wes, you got any cool
I just
tips
have
for that?
I just have a basic kind of like first aid kit and then some like combat gauze. And that's pretty much all I have in there. I've never really had to use it. One time I kind of cut my hand open on a rock, but I didn't have a first aid kit, so I can just live with it.
Okay, well that's
See,
good. That's,
now that you carry it, you haven't had to use it.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
That's how it works.
That's the Moto gods looking after you.
That's right, and that's the best reason to carry your stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So, you know, not to be sacrilege or anything, but we knew you guys, you know, love them turtles. But, you know, do you own other bikes, and what other bikes excite you that are on the market right now?
Go Wes.
I was actually looking at the well, I'm always going to keep the TW200, but I was thinking about like maybe something with a little bit more power, but I was kind of looking at the Husqvarna Spartapellin 401. I just thought it was a kind of it's a really cool looking bike. It's not, you know, really good for off-road, but it's a little more on-road, but you can still take it off-road some. So I thought that would be kind of cool as a second bike. But,
Yeah, those are hot, and they're coming out probably with a 501 too, right?
oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and a
That's
KTM 490 too as well, which would be a parallel.
Wow.
So that should be cool. But
Yeah, that'd be neat.
yeah.
So in my last years of motoing here, like I XR 400, then came the KTM 950 Adventure, then came the ATK 605 DS, and then a KLR 650, and then the TDUB, and then I started selling off every one of those bikes. A, you know, part of, you know, moving, but B, I just like the TDUB just became my center focus of like, that's the bike I have the most fun on. It's the bike that I giggle and laugh on the most, where the 950 would scare the crap out of me. It was cool. It had a lot of street cachet, and you know, it has that whole Dakar heritage, but that's a scary 447-pound beast of a dirt bike.
Yeah, those things are burly, man.
Oh yeah, I did.
They're awesome when they're running, and seeing guys ride them fast and, you know, be able to control them is awesome.
Yeah, my big experience on the 950 was at the Barstow Vegas 2007, and the first big sand wash we came up to, and I see all these big, you know, all the regular dual sport guys, they were just mobbing through, and then I came up to the edge and I saw all these big dual sport guys sitting there, and then I see them trying to take off, and they're doing the whole S thing through the sand, and I'm like, no, that's just not the way this thing's supposed to go down. And so I like circle back around and I just like blast through the sand the way I had learned. But I learned real quick that for the 950, I equated it to a boat. You have to get it up on plane. And so everything that you can do in a regular, you know, 450 to 500 dirt bike, you got to be up one click on the 950. And that was scary, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And it's not that you can't ride larger bikes aggressively, but it does take practice.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to spend a lot of time, you know, really doing it, you know.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So let me see here. If you guys, let's say, could be the head of design for Yamaha on a TW200 update or a replacement, so future TW200 of the future, what would you do to it? Wes, you want to start? You look like you have something in your head already.
Yeah, is it something like practical that would actually happen, or just like anything that I would want to see? Like
whatever, dude. You want to add lasers and spy smoke and missiles and oil slicks, whatever. Whatever you want.
Like I could see Yamaha, you know, making it like fuel inject it in the future, but I think it'd be cool if they like made the engine bigger. I kind of doubt that would ever happen. Maybe like a 300 TW300 would be cool, but
like a TW350 with a slightly
or
larger
350
frame, longer seat. Yeah,
a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and then you
Fuel
add
injection
those.
would be cool.
Yeah.
Add the kickstart back, of course, right?
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
that'd be
for
handy.
sure. Yeah. So
Throw it in there.
So fuel injection,
Especially-
maybe a larger engine. How many speeds does the TW have in the transition?
Oh, 5-speed. Yeah, 6-speed. That's another thing I forgot that you
Yeah.
mentioned. Yeah, 6-speed would be great, but
6-speed would be cool.
Now, let me ask you this. If you added a 6-speed, how would you set the gear ratio up for a 6-speed on a 196cc engine? Or is this on your dream bike? You'd only add the 6 gear if you could have the bigger engine? Or would you,
no, I would love to have a 6-speed. That would be amazing.
But how would
so
you
you're
gear it? Would you put the 6 gear, would you add
On
it
top or
on the bottom?
on the bottom?
Like, what do you mean exactly?
Well,
Would you add a lower gear or would you add a taller gear?
well, it depends on how you have it geared already, but I'd probably keep like the first gear like it is stock from the factory,
Okay.
and then have 6 go up higher so you can get on the road a little bit better without revving out the engine so much.
Kind of like an overdrive, sort of.
Yeah.
So you'd
that'd be good.
split it 50-50 then, pretty much.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah,
For
okay.
how I ride.
Yeah. I mean, everyone wants a 6 gear so they can go faster, but it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But I do
I still
like,
wanna-
yeah, I would keep it, if it was a 6-speed, then I would put it back to the original gear ratio and just use that first gear for granny mode. And like you said, have a little bit for the top end. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Just that was my trick question for the night.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Now, how about like styling wise? I mean,
Don't touch it.
Yeah, it's fine the way it is.
Yeah. Flat
I like
black, if anything.
But that rear tail light's pretty horrible though.
Come
mean,
on. It's so
I-
classic though.
Yeah.
If you change the
It is
tail light, then
classic.
you gotta change the headlight.
I like the square headlight.
I
make
do
it round.
too.
Yeah.
wow. Oh, that's cool. You know, who was it? Man, what was the Japanese gentleman that went to the North and South poles on a modified
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
TW? Oh man,
I can't
don't know
remember
his
his name, but yeah, I've read
Yeah,
a lot about him.
I feel horrible about that, but man, that dude really took that TW200. But I don't know if you've seen that bike or not.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it has like the whole side of it is covered.
Mm-hmm.
Like he must have done some custom fiberglass to it or something like that. It
Oh,
really
yeah.
looked kind of sick. I don't know if it was to keep snow. I mean, I have no idea what
Yeah.
it's about, but the whole
Yeah.
thing looked really kind of sick. Whereas if you haven't seen the picture of this guy's North Pole, South Pole TW200, definitely check it out. I mean, the
Yeah,
dude-
I've seen it. It's pretty
oh,
cool.
you have seen it. Yeah, it's really cool. It almost doesn't look like it anymore, but
Yeah,
but,
it's
you know,
very
but
different.
but you can tell the DNA is underneath all that plastic.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So you would keep it the same. You wouldn't go to a round headlight or anything.
No.
Only if you put like a old DT175 round style tank on it and a Yamaha 360, side, a high pipe with the steel grill, and then you could change the tail light if it had a steel fender that came out.
Oh, I
You know,
see. I
Make
see.
take it back to 1975 and like make it like a
Yeah.
DT TW 200
There
225.
you go.
This is something that we didn't touch on, and it's a very clear relative of the TW200, and that's the Van. Bicycles.
You
Get
get-
out of here with that Van.
Man, I'm gonna take you to the curb over there.
Step outside.
Didn't they stop selling that in the US? They dropped it, didn't they?
Did they?
Or-
I don't know.
I
That's
think
how
so.
much the thing was not marketed.
Yeah. I don't think they sell it in the US.
You know, I
anymore.
know like a couple of years ago it was for sale. To be honest with you, I haven't checked very recently.
It was like 2 or 3 years I think they ran it, and then it's gone. At least last time I checked, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
That was a 200 or a 250.
It was a 200.
200.
The only thing I would take off that thing is the tires, because they look like flat track tires. I want to make a TW200 flat track bike.
Yeah, they do, but yeah, I mean it's also got a high pipe and stuff like that. The
Yeah,
tank looks smaller on the video.
but it's a Suzuki.
It's a fuel inject it, and has
Yeah,
a
fuel
stock
inject.
oil cooler. But just kinda
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Anyway, it's all fat tire love. So, last but not least, any words of wisdom or encouragement for, this is my canned question. I ask this every show. Any words of wisdom or encouragement for you or aspiring ADV riders out there?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you ride. Just get out there and go on an adventure.
Yeah. Come with an open mind. Have fun. Get ready to giggle. And this is the only bike on the planet that you can't have an ego on to ride.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. Well, tell you what, dudes, thank you guys very much for spending the time to come and join us here tonight. Also, thank everyone in the live chat for coming out. Have this
Thank you.
Super active chat. You guys are super passionate. We love you guys, whatever you choose to ride. And certainly I actually hope to find myself on a TW200 sometime soon too, and fat tire in a run. I mean, if I can love a 150 scooter, I can love a TDub, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem. All right, excellent, guys. We'll tell you what. Please stick around for a few minutes after the show, and we will kind of debrief and stuff like that. All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Well, all right. Thanks again to Rodney and Wes for taking the time to come on tonight and share, their very clear passion with everyone. We fully support, again, the idea of everyone riding whatever makes them happy. Light, heavy, big or small, at ADVMoto, we love them all. And, we're riders, and although we may rib each other and kind of joke with each other about really stupid things, at the end of the day, adventure is about people, not machines. And in an exciting and ever-expanding field of hot new bikes, it's also good to remember some words from Leonardo da Vinci himself, who said, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." So, if you're interested in learning more about these crazy cool bikes and their community, please check out Rodney's TDubClub.com and Wes's TDubsKid channel right here on YouTube. Now for our next show, we've got a really awesome next show. Please join us next month for ADVMoto Live number 24 with Mishnus and Elsby for Adventures with Piki Piki Overland. A bunch of you have probably seen their amazing images and stories over their many, many years of adventure traveling all around the world. And we will get to hear some of their cool stories in person. You can ask questions, of course, and find out what trouble they are getting into now. As always, your support means a ton to us and everybody else here and keeps the motorcycle world running. Visit adventuremotorcycle.com for more stories, news, reviews, videos, and podcasts. Don't forget to mash and like that subscribe button and let us know what you'd like to see on the show in the comments below. Until next time, everyone, from here at ADVMoto, please ride safe, have fun, and the adventure is you.